Hello, and welcome to the very first segment of Entrepreneur State of Mind. My name is Krista Smolda, and I'm your host this Tuesday and every Tuesday at 11:30, so be sure to tune in. I am so excited about this show and having the opportunity to do it because I'm an entrepreneur, and I know that one of the things that's helped me through entrepreneurship to be successful is to be able to collaborate with other entrepreneurs and pick their brains. So that's what the show is about. We're going to be able to pick people's brains. And I want to introduce to you my first guest, who is a dear, longtime friend of mine for 38 years, Michael Coluzzi.
38
Mike,
years.
thank you for being on
We
the
don't
show.
look that old, do we?
Yeah,
38 years. Well,
we met in preschool. So Michael is one of those people whose brains I pick regularly, probably too much, and I will continue to pick his brain because he's extremely successful. He is a collaborative entrepreneur and a consultant. So Mike, you have not always been an entrepreneur, right?
right.
Okay, so tell us, how did you shift into entrepreneurship, and how did you evolve, and what do you do today? Tell us your story.
Well, first, thank you, Krista.
You're welcome.
And congratulations on the show. It's a great platform. So, and I'm honored to be your guest.
Thank you.
So, I will say this. I was one of those folks who kind of followed the traditional course of things. I graduated with an accounting degree initially back in '92, and I did accounting for a while, and I realized from a fairly quick time that I really wasn't cut out for the whole corporate world. So from there, I said, you know what? I did what a lot of folks did, who they figured, well, maybe I could, do something different. So I decided I was going to go to law school. So I went to law school, and I went to law school from '94 to 2000, and I've been an attorney ever since. But gratefully and thankfully, I really haven't practiced law a whole heck of a lot in the traditional sense. But I've used my law degree in a whole lot of ways over the years. And I always had an interest in being my own boss, and it's been a journey. So I've been on my own in one form or another since 2000.
Okay.
Right? So starting initially like in the sales world, working for an all-commission sales position for a legal publishing company, and then doing well in that, and then deciding, hey, you know what, I'm going to get involved in real estate because I'm a big Robert Kiyosaki fan. So folks who don't know who Robert Kiyosaki is, his biggest book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a phenomenal book. It's a great foundational level for anybody who wants to understand the fundamentals of what it means to be an entrepreneur and how to create income streams, multiple income streams, because really that's what most successful people do.
Mm-hmm.
So I read his book, and I said, you know what, I'm going to kind of start applying his principles, right? Because if we just keep reading and going to events and seminars, but we don't apply any of it, then what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
So so I started investing in real estate, and that was cool in 2003. And within a short period of time, I had other partners come in, some family members, and we were running the business. 5 employees, 5 carpenters, and we were rehabbing houses and buying properties and doing spot developments and all those types of things. So we all know what happened in 2007, 2008, and that was I always tell folks that really, the ship didn't sink, but it definitely sustained a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all the things that we learn as business owners and entrepreneurs, that it's kind of staying true to your path and recognizing that you're going to get, your boat's going to take on some damage every once in a while. But
So what happened after real estate?
So what happened after real estate is, I had to go back and kind of lick my wounds a little bit, because I was like a lot of folks, where the financial markets and the real estate markets kind of crashed simultaneously. So that put me in a tough spot. And it took me a little bit of time, but one of the principles that you mentioned about picking people's brains and being and having a mentor, I'd say that is one of the biggest takeaways that I've learned, is that you really do have to have, a tribe of people that you work with and collaborate and learn from, people who you're on the journey with, right? This is not the type of thing that you're going to kind of work in a vacuum or work, completely on your own. Some people may be able to do that, but you really lose the whole benefit of getting the collective experience of other folks. So for me, I sought out a coach, a business coach, who helped me get back on my feet, and I work along with my wife Desiree, who you know obviously, and Desi spent 15 years as a pharmaceutical rep, so she struggled with a lot of the same things that I was struggling with, obviously because we were living through them together. But she was in that corporate grind, and we kind of looked at each other at one point like, you know what, we need some help. And that's one of the biggest things too. Is you can't let your ego dictate your fate, because if you don't believe you can use assistance from outside folks, and you constantly just rely simply on your own level of thinking, a lot of times the brain that creates the problem is very rarely the brain that creates the solution.
Yep.
So we went ahead and got a business coach who helped us tremendously, and he introduced us to the whole idea of kind of creating a leverage business in network marketing. And I knew about network marketing through my Robert Kiyosaki readings, but it never registered, simply because I was focused on real estate. And Robert Kiyosaki always mentions about, really, how do you create residual streams of income? How do you get assets working for you? And I think that's really the sign of a true entrepreneur, is when an entrepreneur has assets working for them, where they're simply not trading time for dollars, trading time for dollars. If you're doing that, then you either bought yourself a job, or you may be having a great, earning potential, but the reality is it's not something that you can kind of sustain, because if something happens to you personally, then your income opportunities or levels go down.
Right.
So
the network marketing company. So if I can repeat back to you, so you went to college, and then you actually became an attorney, and then you did some real estate,
right,
and had some some
had
learnings,
some successes and some
some
failures,
challenges and some
Yeah,
learnings, and then you hired a coach and you got into a type of business that is leveraged and is residual income.
Absolutely.
And that happens to be network marketing. So there's different kinds of businesses, right? That when you're thinking about entrepreneurship, there's brick and mortars, there's becoming an investor, there's real estate, there's leverage business. What are some of the criteria that you use to evaluate that this is going to be a good business opportunity for you?
That's a great
means?
point. And I would say this, first and foremost, there's some general fundamental principles that really apply to, what makes a good business model. But on the entrepreneurial level, with respect to, creating wealth or wealth-producing assets, you have to think along the lines is, what can I direct my attention to that's going to build a foundation, that's going to create value, and it's going to create income that is not really tied directly to my efforts on the ongoing basis.
I want you to stop there, because we have sponsors, and I'm going to ask that same question. We're going to get a more detailed answer from Mike when we come back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello, and welcome back to the first show of Entrepreneur State of Mind. We have a fabulous first guest here, Michael Coluzzi. So in the first segment, Mike was able to share with us, his story, kind of what he does and how he evolved into entrepreneurship. And I asked him a question that I think is important for people to consider when you might be thinking about becoming an entrepreneur or owning your own business. What is the criteria that you looked at when you decided to be involved with a leveraged business?
Great question. So think about it. Think about what drives you, right? Think about what's passionate in your life. So the thing is this, we live at a time now that because of social media and because of technology, we have an ability to really leverage and capture a wide audience, right? So I specifically wanted to be able to work in a business that was can leverage that opportunity that we have right now, number one. So that was a major factor. I wanted to be mobile, and I also wanted to be mobile because let's face it, again, because of technology, because things change so much, we all work so hard for our jobs, right? And some of us are really tied geographically to one location, and then they dream about, man, I wish I could retire, or I wish I could move somewhere else. But they can't, because they spent the past 10, 15 years building their business geographically tied to one area, and then they're married to that spot in that area, and then they have to think about their exit strategy and things like that. I wanted to eliminate that. I wanted to be able to create a leveraged income business that was mobile. I chose health and wellness. Why? Because you'll hear later about what I've done on a consultative level. I was the type of person when, maybe right before I was hitting 40, I was 50 pounds heavier. I was really one of those classic people who from the outside looked like they were successful. It was not at all. I was very unhappy. I was overweight, totally stressed out, and I wanted to make a change. So I chose the health and wellness business for my own personal accountability and responsibility to kind of feel good about that. But also, more importantly, is to create something where I can have an emotional impact on people's lives. So that is huge. And when you talk about helping people on a weight loss situation or creating additional income, it's one that has a transformative process. And if you can create something where there's a transformative process, it really gets under people's skin, and it gives them opportunities to open their wings up to their potential. So I mean, you're a perfect example of that, right? So you were somebody who was living in the corporate world, right? Who was making money and had a house and everything else, but the reality is you were struggling. That's so many people. So my goal is to say, hey, how can I empower other folks who were like me, you know, who was like my wife Desiree, or who were like you, people who we know who they want more out of life. So I looked for, you know, that where it was an emotional attachment and something that had a consumable product that you could do on an ongoing basis. So you can create a lifestyle. We say, you know, we want to create ravenous fans with what we do so that they maintain and creates a lifestyle around what they do and they feel attached to that. Just purely on the product side alone, right? And that's awesome because then you get a lot of happy customers who are making purchases on an ongoing basis, and that revenue that gets created, we have an opportunity to kind of to leverage and share in that revenue. So that's super, super important. But you also have to know what the leadership of the company is as well. That's so, so important. You have to really do your due diligence, and how you do your due diligence a lot of times is, like I said before, it's got to using a coach, using a business mentor, using somebody who's going to be able to say, hey, look, I've traveled this path already, right? I'm going to teach you what I know. And what you have to do is kind of be receptive to that, kind of let go of the ego aspect of things and realize that, hey, you know, I'm in a state of transition. It's empowering that I'm going to have a chance to do this, and I'm going to embrace the process. So
one other thing I want to add in there. So you're saying you want to make sure that you have passion about what you're doing.
Without a doubt.
What about the initial risk and the investment? Because some people are thinking about starting a business and they might not have all of that money.
Great
so
point.
did you look at that as a criteria?
Yes, and I did that, and I always try and teach people, like, learn from my mistakes. Right? Now, a lot of times it's hard for folks. Right, but learn from my mistakes. I was somebody, you know, who would, and most folks, because we all dream about freedom, right? We all dream about that idea of, oh my gosh, if only this or only that, if I had time freedom or I made enough money, I can, you know, basically tell the boss to go, you know, go on permanent vacation, what have you. But the thing is this, those are all kind of well-planned fantasies, right? Because we don't know how to do it. We haven't developed the habits, the skills, and the mindset to become successful entrepreneurs. So many times, and I coach people through this a lot of times, they get so caught up in the emotional dream, or they get so caught up in their frustrations, they start looking for solutions that to them seem to be really logical. And you know, look, it's a free market out there, right? So people are going to look to take advantage, I hate to use that word, but they're going to learn to leverage, you know, your inexperience to their benefit, right? So a lot of times I'll coach people who are looking and struggling to create something new, but have never owned their own business before, don't really know what it means to be an entrepreneur, and all of a sudden they're looking at these big financial commitments to invest in something that's just an idea in their mind, but it's not a true decision that's based on experience. I've known people who bought franchises. I've known people who have bought businesses. I've known people who are to kind of done things in the brick and mortar side, only to find that what they dreamed about had nothing to do with reality. So our goal is to be able to put people through that training process to learn. I mean, I can give a great example of somebody who approached me and said, "Hey, I'm going to invest $90,000 into, you know, some type of healthcare facility for one location." And, you know, I'm like, well, where are you going to get the money? Well, I'm going to take a loan. And I'm like, well, how much experience do you have in that area? Well, I don't have any. Okay, have you ever owned your own business before? No. I try and teach, my mission is to teach people that you don't have to go in that direction. You can learn skills, the habits, and the mindset, and be mentored by people so that you can learn and create experience so you can be much more valuable in the entrepreneurial space. And also help people to understand what the timing aspect is. Most people's expectation of the turnaround is really unrealistic a lot of times. So because they're not really positioned to really, they're not entrepreneurs, right? They haven't done it before. So I say, look, don't be like me, where I was, you know, I was doing personal guarantees for $95,000, signing second mortgages on my house, developing properties, and that's risky.
Yeah.
It's really it's it's a little bit reckless. So I try and help people to be not reckless.
Thank you. All right, we have to go to a quick break, all right, because we do have sponsors. So stay tuned. In a couple of minutes, we're going to get even further into Mike Coluzzi's brain in our last segment. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome back to Entrepreneur State of Mind. I'm Krista Smolda, and I have my great first guest, Michael Coluzzi. He's given us great tips so far. I wish the show could go longer because we could go on for hours, I'm sure. So you just talked about in the last part about the journey that you have to go through. I think sometimes people might say, hey, I'm going to enter into entrepreneurship and I'm going to be really successful and make a lot of money. But that's unrealistic. And so in your opinion, being in that game 16 years, right? How long is the journey? I know it depends on the business, but what's realistic that people should expect?
So I use this very simple analogy. We all go to college, right? So we pay, right? We use 4 years, right? We figure, well, I want to learn enough in 4 years where I'm going to be able to kind of create some value in the marketplace. So a really easy rule of thumb is just imagine, like, if you're starting something new, that you're going to college. Which the great thing is like what I love about our business in particular is that you get to earn while you learn, which is really, really critical. So we've been in the business for, just over 4 years. And, we came into the business with a lot of other experience, so it helped us ramp up a little bit faster. But the reality is that everyone has to understand in their mind. Put in your mind, it's going to be an ongoing process, but if you figure it's a 5-year, 7-year process, that whole idea of the 10,000 hour rule really wraps, really lines up.
Yeah.
So, and not to get frustrated with those types of things, because it's going to take some time, and things that you thought you knew, you may not have known as much as you think you did. And you also may find that there's value that you had that you didn't think was going to be applicable, that was super applicable.
Right.
So I'd say 4 to 5 years, you're going to really, will be a good reasonable expectation, and you're going to level of expertise in the 7-year
Okay.
range.
That's good advice because that's not a short amount of time. So it's very important to stay in the game and stay consistent and not quit, right?
Absolutely. Don't quit and be patient.
Yes. Okay, maybe that might be the answer to the next question. So we as entrepreneurs are given this whole list of things that we want to make sure we're doing, right? Oh, personal growth, daily discipline, skills, habit, mindset. Make sure you're doing all of these things. So if you were to give someone that's a budding entrepreneur, either thinking about starting or just starting, if you were to give one piece of advice only, what would that be?
I would say hire a mentor or connect with a mentor who is an expert in the field to which you're looking to become an expert in. That is, to me, the most critical piece because they travel the path that you want to go down. So seeking those people out and then engaging with them on a regular basis. Now some of us may not be able to engage with certain mentors, but we can follow them from afar. But if you can get somebody who you kind of can collaborate with on a regular basis, or they coach you, that to me is critical. That's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in the business. They will teach you, and then you have to be really objective about that too, because you may find that as you evolve, then you'll step up to create a new relationships with new mentors. It never ends. But I would say first and foremost, create a mentor, create a collaborative partner who are going to keep you in the game, who will be objective with you, who can call BS on you, who are going to be able to really look at it objectively and not just kind of be your rah-rah person.
Yep.
We're not.
Tough love.
It's tough. It's just objective. Being objective, because we all want to do well. But the reality is a lot of times if you do well, you have to have someone who can look at things objectively and see what you're doing wrong, see what you're doing right, see what you need to tweak. So that would, I'd say, would be the number one takeaway.
Okay, and I have a business coach, and he started coaching me 3 years ago. And what he coached me on 3 years ago is completely different than what he's coaching me on now, because we make these leaps and we personally grow and become a different person that requires something different.
Absolutely.
So I want people to make sure that they can connect with Mike Coluzzi, because he is someone you want to connect with. He is extremely valuable to me and has been for years. I want you to look into that camera and I want you to tell people how they can connect with you on social media, phone number, whatever you want.
Well, Krista, thanks again for having me. I appreciate it. And this is going to be a great success, I'm sure. So the easiest way to connect with me is through Facebook, LinkedIn. I have some websites that are under development at the moment, but I would simply say it's Michael J. Coluzzi, MichaelJColuzzi. So Michael J. Coluzzi. Look me up on Facebook. Look me up on LinkedIn. I have a phone number, 856-824-1325, 856-824-1325. Call, and I will pick up, and we'll talk. See how I can help you, because really, when I talk about collaborative entrepreneurism and consulting, that's what I do. I collaborate with people. I help them get to their goals. We work together a lot of times because I'm a big believer in multiple streams of income and multiple opportunities, and collaborating with really smart people who are either, are smarter than me, but where we can, some of the parts can really become greater than an individual member. And then on the consulting side, I consult people and I help them through that process. And I like to use the general term consultant because I don't want to say just a business consultant or a life consultant, because the reality is it's all intertwined now. It's all intertwined. And anybody who says that you kind of separate business from life, they're not living in really what the world is about today. It's all intertwined. It's all about connecting with people, being vulnerable, being authentic. Some of those words are kind of trite and maybe a little bit overused, but unfortunately, it's really, really true. So again, reach out to me on Facebook, reach out to me on LinkedIn, Michael J. Coluzzi. My email is michael@healthwealthandfit.com, all spelled out, michael@healthwealthandfit.com. And again, my number is 856-824-1325.
Thank you, Mike. You've been a fabulous guest. So Mike is someone that can help you transform in multiple ways, whether that be physically, mentally, or financially. I know he's helped me tremendously. He's definitely someone that I highly recommend that you connect with to help you propel your business or even just run ideas fast, because I know you do that for. He's constantly serving other people. So reach out to Mike. Thank you so much for being on the very first show of Entrepreneur State of Mind. I think it was a success.
Great job.
Right? And make sure that you tune in every Tuesday at 11:30. Have a great week and have a good holiday weekend.
Have a great day, everybody. Ciao.